We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
The revolution won't be televised. Government been telling lies. If you're not with us, you better step aside. Witnessing a genocide, everything is centralized. The food that we consuming, they spraying it all with pesticides. Easily identify the sheep and the snake, the real and the fake, giving us a reason to pray. I'ma make my own choices, a voice for the voiceless. They trying to destroy us, avoiding the poison. It's all pointless if you don't have a purpose. If you read the verses, you'll know who we versing. Government can't tell you what your worth is, look deeper than the surface. They don't even want you researching or asking questions. We all being tested. Shh. Shut your mouth and comply, that's the message. Want you depressed on prescriptions that mess with your head, got you stressing, suppressing expression.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
Keep the money, I would rather have my soul. They want power and control, that's their number one goal. All my friends turn to foes, look how easily they fold. Even Nazis say they were doing what they told. Walking down this road all alone in the cold, but my soul never sold. I'm exposing the clones, God has chosen this role. All of those who oppose want me hopeless and broke, like I'm Noah on boats. I'm just trying to tell them all about the flood. I can feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my blood. Man, I came up out the mud, only God is my judge. I don't listen to these politicians, they the real thugs. Won't comply with the lies, they disguise it as science. They want you compliant, the media's bias. These corporate giants are capitalizing on us by dividing, but I'll keep on fighting.
We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't want us to make a sound. We gotta get out of now, 'cause it's a revolution. We will not comply with the institution's sick illusion. No, it won't be televised. Welcome to the revolution.
Welcome, everyone, to the AndySaysMD show. MD for Maryland. I'm not your medical doctor, but who knows? If I keep talking to this guy some more, maybe I could be one day. So we got John here to help. Dr. John McGreevy, running for U.S. Senate in Maryland, back on with us again to give us some updates on what's going on with the campaign and the possible bad news that we're looking forward to after the holidays. So everybody welcome John in, and thanks everybody for joining.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here again, of course. I appreciate everything. Hello, everyone. That's both of you. Looking forward. It's been a little while. The campaign is taking off, so we've been busy with getting that up and running. You have to meet a lot of people. It's very different. It's a very different way of doing business. A campaign is a small business, and everybody out there who's running a small business or works for one knows what that's like. Every detail up to you. So, and you rely very heavily on the people around you to make everything work. So, and that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, little by little. I mean, you registered, back in May of 2020. So you've been ready for the fight for quite a long time. So kicking off after the new year is going to be a really big thing, especially with advertisements and handouts. As you guys can see, there's this little handout up here in the corner of the show. We're going to be spreading out a lot more information like that to get the exposure for John. A great word to use there. But yes, so you're on tonight. So what's new with the campaign that you want to update us with, John?
Oh, well, of course, everybody's moving right along, but we are in a type of holding pattern, I guess, because of the holidays. Everything's going to get really nuts in a couple of weeks after the new year. There are a couple more people who have signed up to run for Senate against me, and it looks like a couple may have dropped out already. Not sure, but 2 new gentlemen have signed up. I don't know them yet. Of course, my big question to them would be, what took you so long? Did you not notice a year ago that things were a little messed up? Did you just hang out and wait to see just if Biden could pull it off? So, I applaud them for getting involved, but don't get in my way. So, wink, wink. So, but I'm sure I'll get to meet them at one of the functions. That'd be nice. And I look forward to any debates. Always love debates. So, those should be fun. And we really don't have that much time. Primary coming up, and lots to do for that. So,
yeah,
looking forward to all of it. It's really interesting and some really great people around.
Yeah, and it's again more important for everyone to get involved. If you just have a small inkling that you want to get into office and make some kind of difference in your communities, I encourage anyone to do that. I'm considering it myself. And just having somebody in the good guy spot. We might not be the most experienced people doing the job, unlike John. John has tons of experience with his knowledge and background to aid the efforts for everyone else in America, not just Maryland. So getting out there and putting that effort forward and jumping in with both feet to walk by faith and not sight is most important thing for us to get the law enforced and get our state and our country back.
That's good. Thank you, but I do have a weird background, lots of different experience, got the education, I want to bring that all to play, but you don't need that to get started. Just the willingness to do the right thing. And everything is so screwed up, it's actually a good thing if you're not a career politician. Everybody's always yelling in term limits. It's a good thing now because the whole system is so corrupt that not being a part of the system, not knowing how to play the game, just wanting to get in there and work hard and do your best and do it the right way, that's what we need now. And you can do that at every level. So jump on in. And there are positions. There are positions still open. There's still ways to run. There's still ways to certainly get involved on any of the people who are running, including me, including you, hopefully. If we're trying to convince them to run, that'd be great. We need people who respect the Constitution. So, any level, you can do it. And I'm not a politician. I have never been a professional rectum, despite my varied experience and being called that many times, but I'm not. So I will do my best in politics. I can understand it and I can outthink them. Not that hard. They act like fourth graders nowadays. So, but I'm there to do what's right for Maryland and for the country. They don't impress me, and they usually just make me nauseous. So, but we will get there.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight one of your skills. When you were on Tori's show, I think it was last week, you mentioned speed reading. And man, should every senator, delegate we have, if we have that many speed readers, we need them there. So I kind of came up with that term for you to call you the pork police, with the pun intended, using the pig as your logo. I think that's an excellent characteristic, not even your best one, but an excellent characteristic to sift out all of the stuff that gets pushed through these bills through Congress And it could be very beneficial with that skill to the American people and the people of Maryland to identify these things before these bills get signed or voted on in the House and the Senate. And you'll be able to pull that out in a timely manner to show everyone what exactly that they're trying to push through. Because most of the time it's just sign it and okay, we'll read it later because you got a 1,000-page bill. So, yeah, do you have anything to add to like your speed reading skills? It was an interesting story that you had on Tori's show.
It was actually my older brother who taught me that. And he was gifted in every way. And I could, they used to do this when I was a kid. They would do it because of eidetic memory. They would give me a magazine, any kind of magazine. I'd just flip through it real quick and hand it back to them. They'd pick a page number and I'd read it back to them or tell them what's on the page if it was a photograph.
Wow.
But he could do it with books. And I read voraciously as a kid, but he could do it with books. So there were several different techniques to speed read. He taught me a few, and one just stuck better than the others. Everybody has their own technique, but he read Jaws in like 4 minutes, the novel, things like that. So I can digest these large bills where they purposely pad them and obfuscate everything. They want to hide their intentions in it. They want to hide the money into it. They don't want you to figure it out. And we need, this crap where you got to pass it to know what's in it. Sure. It's like, why don't you just do your prison sentence to find out if you're guilty at the end? It's stupid. And so I can digest these things. When they whip out 1,500 pages and you got to read it before midnight. Okay, watch. And it's a good skill. I mean, it's not so impressive. Anybody can learn it. There are books out there on it. Just pick a technique, and it takes practice. And it's one of those things where the more you practice, the better it is, but you got to keep up with it. So it's just one of the things he taught me. He could do a ton of stuff I can't do. So I can't draw. He could sculpt and paint and act and sing. So I can't do any of that. But this is a very useful one. It helps to really get the information in there. And it applies here directly with these giant bills that they don't want anybody to know what's in them. And I can pick out the stuff they want to hide. And I have no problem telling people what they want to hide. We all know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of your staple in the quote-unquote industry is calling everybody out for the dirty deeds that they're doing. And, I mean, it just curtails directly into your campaign and why it's so important that you get in office, because you're not going to take the guff off of these politicians, and you're going to inform the American people just by doing your job.
Yes, I don't want to run a nasty campaign and smear campaign. He did this, he did that. I don't have to. All I have to do is educate the people on what they're actually doing. You elected them. You're paying them very well. They barely work. And what are they doing with the time in there? Like my incumbent I'm running across, Chris Van Hollen, he's managed to take 6-7 vacations since he's been in there. Those are just the big ones. There's lots and lots of paid weekends. So, that must be nice. Or everybody else is locked in. You have to take another week vacation to check out your other office. Didn't realize you had an office in Florida. You're a senator in Maryland, but okay. So they just abuse it all the time with the standard, what are you going to do about it response. Like, if they find out, what are they going to do about it? That's how little they think of us.
Yeah, and all the money that they make with it, they can afford to take all these vacations when they're supposed to be doing the job that we elected or hired them to do. And in
and then they say it's a study. It's like, Maryland, in case you didn't know this, has a Chesapeake Bay. There's sand in some parts of it. So I have to go to the Bahamas to study sand. I have to go to Florida to see beach erosion. This is how they do this stuff. And then we pay them for it. It's an expense-paid trip. We pay everything out in taxes, in addition to what they're being paid, to study sand around the world so we understand the erosion in Chesapeake Bay. Why don't you walk your ass down to the Chesapeake Bay? It's right there. That's where the erosion problem is. But no, let's study it in Tahiti or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, right at the inlet in Ocean City, they have that glass case there. It's got sand from all over the world. I wonder if, all of our politicians brought a little bottle back just so we could see sand from another world or another country. So,
like sands through the hourglass.
yeah.
I haven't seen that display. I have not been to Ocean City in a while. Is that where the shark used to be on the end?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's their little Ocean City museum there down at the inlet.
Did they get rid of the shark?
No, the shark's still there.
Was he sand? Okay. Wow,
Yeah, he's
sand.
still alive and he
I'm at
swam
the
away.
beach. I can check my butt crack and find plenty of sand. I don't need to see that. Come on.
I'm sure there's a story there too.
Yeah, it's called the beach.
Uh,
You're laughing way too much. You're starting to make people worry.
yeah, I know.
Oh, it's just ridiculous how they abuse the office and how they take so much money from everyone. And of course now we have the P resident and what they're planning, what they're doing. Everybody sees the attacks daily. Everybody knows what they're doing, but there's some horrible stuff that's coming after the holidays that they knew no one would tolerate during the holidays or before. And they don't really plan lockdown. They're not really talking about that. They would like to do it here and there, but they don't want to do it. They'd rather use it to manipulate differently. It's like not going to lock down because the economy must keep moving. But if you want one of the jobs, you better be vaccinated. And they're coming heavy after firearms.
Yeah.
After New Year. They are trying to flat out alter the Second Amendment and how firearms are recorded and traded and sold, things like that, using the so-called ghost gun, market, whatever, as the example. And, of course, you never hear them on the news where they tell you that you're actually allowed, as a private citizen, to make a firearm at home.
Yeah.
You are. You're allowed to make a firearm. You're allowed to make a rifle, a shotgun, a pistol, whatever. You're allowed to make it for your own use. If you were to sell it, which you're allowed to do, you must register a serial number for it. But you don't have to if it's for your own use.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know that. And what they're saying is, oh, these are ghost guns. They're ending up everywhere. And yes, you're going to have some idiot that'll make a whole bunch and try to sell them. They've caught a couple people doing that. But I'm not really worried about that. It's more concerning about the millions pouring across the border. But that stopped. That stopped because of the holiday.
Right.
Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, and I just heard yesterday it was 1.7 million is just the ones that they've recorded, not the ones who got away that were coming over the southern border. That doesn't even include the Afghanis that were flown in to our country, and especially sanctuary states like Maryland.
Oh, Maryland's got a bunch. Maryland has a bunch, and they are all automatically qualified for PTSD, which means they are automatically considered disabled. They get the full benefits. They do not have to work. They get all the benefits. They get Social Security. They get a Social Security disability. Just set foot on the country. How long did you work for your Social Security or your disability? How about your grandparents or your older family members? How long did they work to get theirs? How long did they contribute?
Yeah.
But they get it handed to them immediately.
And that's probably a big reason why it's all, bankrupt or completely out of money, because we just keep giving it to everyone else rather than the people that paid into it, right?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, no one's paying into it at the rate that it's going out.
Yeah.
The population was supposed to grow so that more people were paying into it, supporting the people coming off of it. But I know people right now in Baltimore drive around in these monster expensive SUVs because they're collecting benefits 4 or 5 times over for themselves.
Wow.
They don't work. They get their cash allowance, get their food, which you can actually cash out food stamps in Baltimore. And there are stores down there where you go in and they have there's like a pole or something next to the cash register, and it's just one barcode after another. And there's different ones, and it adds up on the bottom, 100, 200, whatever. And you take the little scanner, hold the trigger down, and just run it down. Boom, boom, boom. There's 100, there's 50, there's 25, 175. Boom, and everybody gets the same identical products, milk, bread, butter, that qualify. The store gets all of it, and you get it's like a little less than half for back. So I mean, if it was like $200 out, you get like $80 back in cash. But they didn't pay for it. It's free money for them. They don't care. Plus, they get their cash allowance, things like that.
What can you do in the position of the U.S. Senate to combat something like that, at least within the jurisdiction in the state of Maryland?
Well, you represent Maryland, and you're in D.C. making sure that Maryland gets their percentage of help, their percentage of federal funds, federal taxes that you've already paid coming back into Maryland. It's when they pat it with pork that's the problem. But you want to make sure Maryland's not left out. Maryland's getting what they need. Maryland gets what they deserve because they've worked and paid for it. So when that money is coming back in for federal services like Social Security, things like that in Maryland, you can make sure it doesn't get spent there. You can introduce a bill to stop that. It's like if someone's here illegally, why are they getting any benefits? Feed them, clothe them. We're not cruel people. I don't want to hurt anyone, but feed them, clothe them for a month or two until you get them back to their country. Why do they get to stay and make more than their citizens? Why are our senior citizens and people with disability losing cost of living increases and having their benefits cut just to cover them when they're healthy, when they haven't paid in anything? We know why. It's because they want the votes.
Yes.
But you can stop that from the money coming in. You say, the money's coming in, and I'm the step between it. The federal money coming into Maryland, instead of being abused anymore, I'm the stopgap. I'm here. I'm the funnel for it now, and I don't want you to give it to these people. I want you to give it to the people who earned it, their family members, the ones that need it and live here. So I can say, oh, the money's coming in. It's coming through me now. You got to do it this way. I'll attach fines and penalties for it. It's like if you help an illegal alien get benefits, and you sign up for it, you're as guilty as they are, and you can both be charged. It's like, see how many people help them then? But they want that now. And you have a Social Security system set up federally, which I'd be dealing with, where they will take anybody they can, register people multiple times, because it's their friend sitting there for the fourth time that month with two different names again, doing one file after another. Same person getting 5 or 6 benefits because Social Security wants all that money. They say we had a million people registered, they get this much money. If they have 10 million, they get even more. So they'll register what they know is phony stuff just so they get more responsibility or more money.
Yeah, kind of like a Ponzi scheme or just a straight up scam. It seems like that's in every facet of our government that people are taking advantage of it. And of course, not everybody, but mainly the ones that at the top that are getting the most benefit from it.
Well, that is system-wide for Social Security. They're cutting the benefits of long-term people and to give it to people that never paid a dime in and never will. All the benefits they're getting aren't even taxed.
Yeah.
So, and I've tracked it. I worked it. I know a lot of that money is going. These people are getting multiple sets of IDs. They're coming into the country with them. And these aren't fake IDs. These are real ones from their government. But you can buy them there. So they're not like they're going to be discovered as fake. These are real ones from their government. But you bought multiple sets.
Wow.
And like I said, they'll register in each state. They'll go up and down the East Coast. That's their job monthly. Traveling up and down the East Coast, collecting the benefits and getting everything they need in each state.
Yeah,
so, and the money does end up funding terrorism. That's why I used to track. It does.
Yeah, that's truly disheartening there. And then every other person that's a law-abiding citizen but just has a difference of opinion with government is labeled as a domestic terrorist. And, we have all the wrongful political prisoners down in D.C. right now and all over the country.
Oh, yeah, January 6th, giant mess. I've already been told I'm mentioned this before, that I'm on the list to be subpoenaed. So I've written them one formal statement. I kept asking questions, one more, and this. I just wrote a statement that said, I will comply fully with any subpoena. Don't talk to me again until it's subpoenaed.
Yeah.
So usually you cut them off. And they didn't like that, but too bad. Because they have teams of investigators. They got hundreds of investigators just going nuts daily. It's not just the people you see on TV. They have full staffs just for this, and hundreds of investigators around them that are nonstop, 24/7, checking and investigating, calling people. So
Yeah.
you see the people on the screen, the names that you know are, but they got entire extra staffs for this. So they're going nuts, and they just want to desperately, prove something, but only in their way. And anything else gets sealed.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess that's why they want the information from you, so they know whether to even get you in there or not, or take what you said and build a defense against it ahead of time.
Right, and a lot of those subpoenas, as they told me, that people being subpoenaed, and many of them are public, you've seen those, a lot are going to be private. The majority have actually been private and sealed. You didn't even hear about them. You heard about the big names and things. But a lot of them have been given privately and sealed because they didn't like what was heard. So they control it. And once you give it, you're not allowed to talk about it. You're under a seal. So that they're controlling the flow of information. You go in and tell them what they don't want to hear. Sealed. There you go. Thank you. Sealed. Can't talk about it under penalty. I was told it was a felony to let anybody other than counsel that I was being represented by or trying to hire know that I was being subpoenaed. So, told everybody online. That's right. So, bring it on. Terrified of you. You took everything. What else are you going to take?
Yeah, and you're already doing the job of the people by informing them of the system and how corrupt it is and how it's not working to your benefit or anybody else's benefit by exposing that. And thank you so much for it. You got brass balls to do that. I think 99% of the people would just be like, okay, I can't talk about this, but you've lived through all the hardships and endured all that because of trying to keep quiet. And they've just exploited that from you time and time again. So we really appreciate it. Not just me, everybody who's listening.
Thank you. It forced me to be quiet under threats to my family and others. It was started to crap because I spoke up. So I didn't want them to do that, but they're coming out. I mean, I don't think anybody now questions when I say Rod Rosenstein's a piece of crap. Excuse me. Language, he's a piece of shit. I don't know. Such harsh language. I don't think anybody disagrees with that statement anymore. And it's coming out now just how much he was, how much he controlled the so-called Russian collusion from both sides, where he's lying to the president, lying to everyone else, using his office to protect himself. And comes out now where he arrested and charged, when he was the DAG, he arrested and charged Russian hackers. It was like, probably made up names. They've never been in the country, never will. And denied any spying whatsoever, denied spying in court to the cases I was on with him and other things, but some are still going. Denied it to Congress. And then turns around and admits it, says, great, now he's working with a company that supports it and is actually supporting the spying like he has all along. He just lied the entire time he was in office. And
Yeah.
this is what you get. And it comes back to, what are you going to do about it? It's like, get me in there, see what I do about it.
Yeah. And then what
You're going to wish you brought lube if I get elected, buddy. That's right.
That's right. Well, that ties in.
There you go. Put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah. Rod the Bod. Well, speaking of
Just a light ramrod, yeah.
yeah. Team Ramrod.
That was
Yeah.
his self-appointed nickname, Ramrod.
He totally stole that from Super Troopers, so he gets no credit for that. Maybe he doesn't get credit for anything that he's done. He's probably taking it all out of a book or something. But yeah, all the people around him
Stole everything.
are going to jail or being sentenced or indicted for charges, but he still technically squeaky clean sitting in the middle there because he's been pretty well insulated the whole time. I guess that goes into some of the legal matters that you've been involved with. I mean, the one in San Francisco you've mentioned before, and are there any updates to that case?
Well, I'm submitting another set of paperwork. The first set had what they thought may be classified information attached to it. Most likely because I submitted some court documents that said classified national security. So I kind of spazzed them out, so they sealed all that and had to resubmit another one. And then I requested that the court formally request from the various departments internal affairs investigations from whichever federal agency. And I included a lot of evidence of the criminal activity and lists of the victims' cases, finance records, things like that. And they sealed those as well because they wouldn't want to jeopardize the investigation. These would be turned over to the various departments that would have to investigate. So I have to submit yet another one because we all know I love typing so much.
Yes.
And well, the nerve damage. Well, I just get going and the pinky starts saying, no, I'm not going to help anymore. I'm taking it in with me. So the left hand just decides to shut down. So it's a combination of typing and talk to text when I do it. But they don't want to cooperate. That's why I don't play instruments anymore. The left hand doesn't do the chords like it used to. So, but I get it done eventually. So I'm putting that in, and that one will be the public one. This is the one I mentioned with all the Bitcoin. What they weren't pleased about is that there are actually 5 other wallets and several beyond that that are very classified that nobody ever once mentioned. A lot of agencies, wink, wink, have these hidden Bitcoin wallets which they use for dirty payouts and laundering things. And they don't want people to know that. Whoops. And I know because we helped set them up and taught them how to use it. And they have them, and this is where they hide a lot of it. But it's also these huge hidden, dirty money Bitcoin wallets that are driving the Bitcoin market. Where if they were all exposed or dumped, it could crash the market. It'd be down to virtually nothing.
Wow.
And so I mean, Bitcoin on one side is great. I'd love them to pay me mine that they took. Just give back what you took, and I'll be happy. But also, Bitcoin it's air. It's like you could be a Bitcoin millionaire, and if power goes out and you can't get on your computer, you got jack. It's a concept. So it's weird for me. It's just like gold's never been worth nothing. But you can't eat it. So, but at least you have something physical in your hand.
Yeah.
And these are the Bitcoin people. They can get in. They can. I mean, not all of them, but like these dirty government agencies, they get in and they can inflate it. I mean, you say, "Oh, it doesn't happen. Can't do it." Well, really? He asked Bridges about that. He went to prison for doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question about Bridges.
Oops, excuse me.
That was all him all in that with setting up or filling those wallets, right? With him and Rosati of doing their scams to take their money and take their nest eggs and everything that they had by setting them up with charges.
Well, it was Rod, and you had a couple people from Secret Service. You had several from DEA, although Rosati was the worst one. You had a couple from ATF. You had 4 or 5 from the FBI. And none of their little scams would have worked without Rod's approval because, they can put in their application for charges. We did an investigation, we did this, we did that. But they knew what to look for. So when they submitted these to the DOJ for federal, for charging, for, indictment purposes, then they wouldn't have gotten anywhere because they were so full of crap, or they would have just stayed low level. It wasn't until after then when they started targeting people who had assets that they wanted to steal that it would go through. They'd put it in knowing that it was going to be approved down their way. And because they were doing this, they would gleefully break the law, lie on every step of it, lie about surveillance, make up things, plant stuff, because they knew what was going to happen. They knew that you were going to be forced into a plea to avoid child porn charges and things like that. So when you plead to something, it absolves them of anything they did wrong. A lot of people don't know that. It's like if they break into your apartment, shoot your dog, you can't sue them if you plead. That absolves them of everything. If they lied on a surveillance warrant, if they lied on something, if they fabricated something, and you plead, it takes it away. You pled to it. That means you agreed to everything they did, and it was correct. It's written right in there. People don't understand that. So they know when they did these cases that there was going to be a plea, because that was the end result. They knew that when they charged him, the indictment, Rod would get it to the right people, because that was his job in Baltimore, to assign the cases. And he'd get the right people, knowing that when they get the forensic computer exam from a completely disinterested, highly trained, third-party special, Secret Service dude, that has nothing to do with your case, you're going to tell me he's lying? Of course, he's sitting in prison now. And as soon as he gets out, we have all these Bitcoin, pay me Bitcoin hijackings. Shocker there.
Yeah.
But it's like that's how they did it. It's like, this is a Secret Service agent. It's got nothing to do with your case. You're going to tell us that he is fabricating this type of stuff? It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you, because that's what he did, and he went to prison for it. And they kept it quiet. They kept it buried as much as possible. They went to prison because they didn't want the other people that had been sentenced already sitting in prison to appeal.
Wow.
So they actually broke it up and sent it through Baltimore. He was charged in New York and California, but they sent a lot of it through Baltimore, so the people in New York and in Baltimore and California stuff wouldn't know that he was in there, wouldn't know that he'd been sentenced, so they couldn't appeal. Because if that's not grounds for an appeal, nothing is.
Right. Well, we're seeing the consequences of consent all over the country, and not just with criminal charges or criminal cases like the plea you're saying, absolving or giving immunity to anyone who's had some misconduct, but even with the vaccines or the exemptions thereof. When you're consenting to something or you're asking for an exemption, then you are consenting as well to give someone else authority over you. And I think that's the biggest common misconception that people have. It's just trying to save some face or trying to do a workaround to, not have their choices taken away. But really, we should all be standing up and just saying, no, you don't have authority over me. And if we could get into the vaccines a little more on that topic, because I think it's ever evolving and it's ever in our face, and it seems like that's going to be something that's right around the corner, the beginning of next year, that there's possible door knockings and all of that stuff going on.
They have horrible stuff planned for next year. I mean, the mandatory boosters, something like on Gattaca, where, it's like, they're not going to check to where if you have a booster, because I wrote about, way over a year ago, 2 years ago, the VAC card has become the vaccine passport, and they're not going to do it. They're just going to do it in reverse, where if you want to go to the government building, if you want access to here, you're getting a booster before you go in. You don't get it, you don't go in. Yeah. There's no proving it. There's no, here's my vaccine. If you walk in, you're getting one, or you don't go in. So, and then they're coming after firearms very heavily, ammunition very, very heavily. And so they know it's going to be extremely unpopular, so of course they're going after firearms again. And this drooling idiot in office here, he'll sign anything they stick in front of him as long as it's damaging to the country and he gets a piece. So why is there a playground next to the White House now? Why is there a jungle gym next to the playground? Is that so, the P. resident can maintain his, sniffing skills in between, his job or something? It's just weird.
Yeah.
So, but whatever. There's some pictures leaked out where there's a jungle gym next to the thing. I'm like, oh, so I can stay sharp, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
actually
get the
heard him
smaller
on.
Secret Service people to put on a school uniform so you go out and sniff them.
Well, I actually heard him say yesterday about the tragedy in Kentucky, and I forgot what news outlet it was on though, but it was terrible. That he was worried about people's mental state in Kentucky, and it's absolutely unfortunate the tragedy that they're dealing with, and how the funds aren't getting there. I mean, it was a concerted effort by our group, or from the Tory-inspired groups in Kentucky, to set up PayPal, like GoFundMe, and get the resources to have people donate to help out the people in need. And that got shut down through PayPal. So we had to find different avenues to donate some money, because even when I donated, it got sent back to me the next morning and said that it couldn't go through. But Biden's worried about everyone else's mental state, and I would think even in that tragedy that they're dealing with, they're probably still worried about his mental state. He's all over
sure
the
they
place.
are, but he can't spell Kentucky, so I'm not worried about what his opinion of anything is. And I mean, of course, the funds are not going to get there. They're slowing them down on purpose. You know, they could get it there quickly. They could get it there right this second, but they don't, because, you know, didn't vote for him. So I'll teach you. You know, it's just payback time. And so that's the way he's doing, is teaching them a lesson. You didn't vote for me, why should I help you?
Yeah.
But we got California, it's much further. Bam, money's right there instantly. Of course, that's the way it goes. It's just, you're playing with people's lives, and they think they can do this. Again, what are you going to do about it? And let's see how far up there in government I can get. Let's see how close I can get to them. I'll show you what I'll do about it. I'm not going to shake your hand. Damn sure. Don't know where it's been, but I have a good guess. And somebody might want to call the gym teacher. So, but I'm not shaking his hand. You wait till you see what I rip up when it comes to the State of the Union.
Yeah. Well, with the you said that after the beginning of the year, they're going to come heavy after the firearms and after ammunition. You being a ballistics expert, what's so important about the ammunition? Why they would come for that especially?
Well, if I ever was a ballistics expert, that was a long time ago. I was just a very serious hobbyist. My cousins, all of them, they were the experts. They had the lab and everything. But as I mentioned before about how ammunition is put together, and they are regulating the chemicals. Instead of going after the ammunition, they're going back a step to the chemicals needed to make ammunition, basically the gunpowder and the primer powder. Primer is the little silver thing at the bottom of a bullet there, you know, or the shell. And the little primer, you get the case, powder, the bullet's the part that actually fires, of course. Primer is a high explosive, but it's a little teeny bit. And it's actually a little teeny shaped charge. A hammer hits that, and that's what goes off and ignites, boom, the powder, and sends the bullet down. Well, they're re-regulating these things as they're increasing penalties for them, and they're making it much harder to get them. So you can have 1,000 rounds of ammo, but you have no primers. It's not going to work. By doing this, they're taking everybody back to basically black powder. They're taking away the efficiency. You take away the primers, then your AR-15 doesn't matter how many rounds you got or how many how many shells in a magazine, anything like that. It doesn't matter because they don't work. But they're also doing it because they're saying it has so much power, and if you have 15 or 20 or 30 of these things all together, that's over a hand grenade, and that's regulated as an explosive. So they want large magazines that hold more than 10. Actually, they don't want even that high, but there was talk of trying to do it at 6 is what the limit. So they wanted magazines blocked at 6, and then revolvers held 6, even though some hold more, of course. But they were talking about 6 rounds.
Wow.
Were all you allowed to have one you at a time for legitimate sporting purposes, not even self-defense, because they don't want that at all. Because anything over this, the power of the explosive in your hand would be equal to a pipe bomb or a grenade. And it's regulated by the ATF. So if you had a magazine that held 15 rounds, or an AR-15 magazine that held 30, that's now a regulated explosive if you load it to capacity. That's what they're trying to do. So if you have it, if you manage to get the rounds, if you have a loaded magazine, that's an unlicensed explosive. Destructive device if you load it fully.
And anybody who's ever owned a firearm, shot a firearm, or dealt with firearms knows that is complete bullshit. Just because of the amount of primers in your gun. Like, it makes no sense. But to the layperson who doesn't own firearms or use them ever, they see them as dangerous because of the media narrative that's pushed. So the media helps push people to get the legislation passed or get the legislation pushed forward because they're believing all this crap by being just completely ignorant to the facts.
Well, they're already starting it, but it's subtle. We haven't seen it, haven't noticed it. There have been shootings in the past, unfortunately, and they'll say this person had a rifle and a pistol and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. But these last couple of shootings, horrible, but they'll say he had a pistol and 53 rounds. They're counting them. You notice they're actually giving you the total now. So, because they want those totals known. Because, if he'd had 6, you could still defend yourself, but this would not have happened. He would not have been able to hurt this many people. This type of stuff. So they've already started doing this. If you look at the reports, they're actually giving ammunition counts now. And they were told to do this. This is the prelude to this stuff. But the big thing they're going to try is if you have more than that kind of ammunition, and if it's fully loaded, that's an unregistered explosive device.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're going to monitor, I guess, more subtly how it happens, especially in Maryland with our red flag law now. And, the restrictions already on magazine capacity that we've had for the past, decade. And, it is just tearing off into the relinquishment of our own firearms altogether.
We have the new ATF director, and I believe his name is pronounced Mr. Man-Boobies, and he absolutely hates civilian ownership of firearms. He'll go along with whatever it is. He's an idiot. He's the guy who took the war pictures with the dead children at Waco, standing in where they were burned to death, taking souvenir photos.
Wow.
And he absolutely hates firearms in civilian hands whatsoever. And he actually hates them so much that he only wanted certain people, himself and the top people, to have firearms, and then even his own agents, ATF agents, would be issued them as needed. This is how much he wants to regulate them. Where the day-to-day, office ATF, stuff like that, would not have a sidearm issued. They would be issued if they needed them for something specific. So he doesn't want you to have one at all.
Yeah, and we see it all across the globe right now. Australia, what they're dealing with, they had their guns taken away. The UK, the same thing over there. Many other countries. And it's just a matter of time before this global agenda sweeps across the Atlantic or the Pacific. We're kind of getting pinched in from both sides. But again, it's why is one of the most important things for us all to get involved and pay attention. That's really all you got to do. Like John said earlier, you don't have to be an expert in any particular field. You just have to care, and you have to pay attention. And that's how we fight back against tyrannical orders or edicts or legislation that's passed, and and the fact of just non-compliance. That's like the most important thing.
Well, I mean, you don't need the degree, for this or that. I have a bunch, but you listening and the people out there are just as much an expert at being an American and living in this country as I am. Okay? You're putting up with the same crap I am. It's like, I'm buying gas, I'm going to the store, or I'll say, you know what America means to you. And it's a little different to each of us. And, a lot of us have family, have been military, or law enforcement, something like that. We're paid even more in,
Yeah.
And it should mean even more. So, you know exactly what it is. You're already an expert at being you. You're an expert at being an American. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Because these other people, you see them, the ones tearing it down, they're destroying it. They're only an expert at tearing it down. They don't want it. So we need you in there to balance them out, overcome them, tear them down. Build that wall with people who want the country so they can't get through it again.
Yeah, we can't have utter control because that wouldn't be fair to anybody if we did that. But balance is key to have the debate and have differences of opinion where you can come up with solutions. And the roadmap was already created for us and implemented with the U.S. Constitution and our state constitutions. So as long as we sit on those principles when we're going into debate of anything like politics, because politics affects everything, then adhering to the Constitution is the most valuable thing. It's the roadmap to success for a republic to thrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about them. It's all about what they can get out of it. Every deal they have, it's in the back of their mind when they craft it, when they put it through, is, what do I get out of it? I can get a piece out of it, or I get some votes out of it. It's all about what they get out of it, not what's good for the country. Not like do it right, and it's done and move on. No. What do I get?
Yeah.
If it's a problem, how do I manage it? Or can I turn it around to something positive? If it's something that I have to deal with for someone else, do I have to deal with it now? Can I deal with it later? How do I make it beneficial for me? It's all about them. And it's not why they were elected. And I'm tired of that's why I'm thinking, 2020, if you can take anything good out of it, and there wasn't much, but if you can take anything good out of it, is the old ways of doing stuff are done.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember Clinton coming out and playing the saxophone. Who cares? Who cares anymore? Okay?
Yep.
After all the stuff that's been done is being done to us daily, this isn't a popularity contest anymore. You need people in there who know what they're doing, have the ability to kick ass, and have the experience to do so.
Yep.
Look at the mayor of Baltimore. Come on. Holy crap.
That
I don't
laugh
care if you
was
made history
really
how young he
creepy.
is. Horrible. He has no experience.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I won't bring up anyone that's running against me. But there's one person in particular who, at the ripe old age of 22, okay, now we all know at 22 we've had a lifetime of experience, education, and work. We have suffered and grown so much by the time we're 22 that he wrote an autobiography. Well, hot damn.
No way.
Sign me up. Because if it's not about hair gel, what is it? What experience you got?
I think I saw something about
So,
hair gel
so-
and there's something about Mary. And maybe it was the same thing,
Yes,
or maybe it was
that's
something
about
different.
what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm tired of the popularity contest. I'm tired of people voting by how someone looks. Okay, do it by how they act, how much they care, what they can bring to the table, and how well they can do the job. It's like we have people out there, men and women, fighting when they got to get a job to make it about their qualifications, about how well I can do this damn job, not how good I look. Ladies, when you go out, do you want the job, depending on how good your legs look, or how well you can do the job? And you turn around, and for national, and say, oh, he's cute. I'd like to see him in office. He dresses great. Look at the buns on him. Okay? And this is not a popularity contest. The country's dying.
Yeah.
We can't do this anymore.
Well, I think I said
And
to you yesterday, or I said to somebody, is there is no other way right now but forward, because the road behind us has crumbled. There's nothing to turn around and go back to. There is no quote-unquote normal, and that's the big narrative for the last year half or 2 years is let's just do this so we can get back to normal, so we can see some more type of normalcy or whatever bullshit that they're spouting. But there is nowhere to go back. Like, I wouldn't want to go back to the old me. I mean, I still think as me, like individually, like my principles are still the same, but my views have advanced just by the things that I've been looking at and the information coming down the stream. And you gotta trust your gut, and like I said before, walk in faith and not by sight. But there is nowhere where to go if we turn around and start walking backwards, because that old guard, that old life is just gone. And if we don't move forward, then we're gonna fall down with the road that's crumbling behind us.
Well, it's that we are buried under a layer of BS with the 2020 election.
Yeah.
And so many people want it addressed, and it needs to be. But we are moving forward one way or another. And if we don't do something now for the next election, 2022, that's it. We're done. We're going to be buried under another layer, and they're going to be able to change anything they want, and that's it. We're over. What you can fight with right now, what you can refuse the vaccine, what you can stand up and say I have the right to speak, they're going to take that. They're already trying to change the Constitution without the majority. Right now, they're trying to change the Second Amendment. If they get enough people in there now, look at this stupid map they just put up in Maryland.
Yeah.
The most rigged map ever in history. And not just Maryland, anywhere. And it's rigged in their favor to give them several more seats in Congress and keep them there for 30 years. Because they want that majority, and they'll break any law to get it. And then they sent it up, and Hogan vetoed it. And they just overrode him.
Yep.
So, because they got the majority. So they overrode him, here it comes.
Yeah, the only time you don't want the General Assembly to act, they do. And then every other time that they're not acting, we're begging for them to do something. They call a special session for the emergency powers that Hogan had by declaring a state of emergency. And that certainly put everybody in quite the pickle there, because it's all going downhill from there. So we have to definitely stand up. And yeah, you're talking about the redistricting map. It is literally cutting the conservative vote in less than half. It is destroying all the conservative counties and districts that we have in Maryland. So no good people, not saying there aren't good Democrats or good libertarians or good independents, but that there's not going to be anybody of like minds being elected to do the job of the people, because that's really the conservative mentality, is individualistic, less government in our lives, and Judeo-Christian principles, and to be the voice for other people. Just the same as you said several times, that you are interviewing for a job. Like, you will do what the people want you to do. It's not you want to get in there so you get the paycheck. You don't want to get in there so you can have the PR for your small businesses or your large businesses, or provide any special interests or payments to somebody for getting into office. This is like, your brilliance is one thing, but the grassroots, your mentality and your attitude of approaching something as huge as a U.S. Senate seat is very commendable. And I think people should really recognize that. And I think they do, and that's why they're listening to this. But that we have to take it even a step further with supporting you, supporting other candidates like you, and running for office ourselves. I think I said that like 10 times this show.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, I saw it, like you said, thank you, but they said, something as big as a Senate seat. I'm not impressed. And I saw this at one function we went to. I won't mention names, but when a gentleman was introducing people, and I was talking to people, and he introduced me. He said, Senate. I said, which? I said, U.S. He said, oh, federal. It was a surprise to him. It's like, oh, U.S. Senate. I was like, I'm not impressed. Thanks. It's a job. It's a very important job. But pick out what they've done lately.
Yeah.
Pick out what they've done in the last couple of years. It's like, is any of that impressive to anyone?
Yeah, I think there was... Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that they get inside, they get elected, and then they think they know something because now they're on the inside. They're not really on the inside, they're in the middle. And we have developments in tech and military and things like this that are coming down, and they hear about it first, okay? And they think they got it because they know before all the little people. All these cool, new futuristic developments in everything, medicine, technology, military stuff. And they abuse their position by positioning themselves financially to benefit for it when it hits the public.
Yeah.
This is how they get filthy rich. Well, I spent my life prior to this developing that stuff. I was there first, not them. They're just a gatekeeper.
Yeah. They
think they're special. Most of them, I can tell you right now, don't understand it. They don't.
Yeah.
They couldn't follow the math if they had to. They're just there like, oh, what is it? What can it do? Great. And then they make money off of it before it gets to the common public.
And you were inventing...
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, you were inventing things. You were advancing technology for the betterment of humankind. You could have been rich 10 times over, but you wanted people to benefit from it, and they did exactly that.
Let them have it.
Yeah.
And but they don't see it that way. They're special. They were elected, so they get to abuse the position, get rich off of it. Whereas I'm not impressed by their Senate seat, and I haven't seen them do anything recently that has impressed me at all. And turn on C-SPAN. Do they look impressive?
No.
Standing around with their thumb up their ass talking about the crap for 90 days until they can say no, because they didn't get the deal they wanted. Oh, that's impressive work. Thanks. Sure, I'm glad you're there for 6 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially the January 6th committee. I mean, like, all right, this is quite a while ago now, and they still haven't figured anything out. Like, come on, they're just like slow walking this. Most of the American people understand already.
Oh, ask them how much they spent. They won't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Try to find that out. You know, we heard the Russian collusion, $40 million, $45 million in 2 years and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They've spent over that already for January 6th, but they won't tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
How much they spent, really. They're way over that.
Yeah, maybe we should FOIA that.
Yeah, good, because no one's asking. They don't want anybody to ask, but they've already spent well over that.
Yeah, that's a great point there, John. That's another call to action item. We always have one on the show where we should all be doing shit. I already said 10 times everybody should be running for office. Like, that's very important that we do that. It's not really a joke, but just the fact that I'm reiterating it. But yeah, that'd be a great call to action. Let's send out a FOIA and find out how much they're spending on the January 6th committee and then blow that up because... Like you said, with Russian collusion, 45 million, that's probably peanuts compared to what they've been doing for this investigation. And they already have all the answers right in front of them, but they won't hear them.
They're strictly controlling what they get in.
Yeah.
That way when they present their case, all the bad stuff's left out, and it'll look like a strong case.
Yeah. Yeah, even going through the Bannon stuff.
Tons.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a little mad at him. They're not so fond of Mark now. They told him he's not dealing with them. Meadows.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it's a giant, one-sided, very expensive so-called investigation. And so present the case, get a quick conviction is what they want. And it's no different to what they do with the phony cases set up in DOJ that we've talked about. Manipulate everything until you can only come to one conclusion. There, that's it. That's the truth. We swear, and that's how they get their convictions.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that lie under oath.
Yeah, well, like for instance, I mean Bridges, as we talked about, the Secret Service. He's sentenced to a little over 6 years. He's out now, and he's completely off supervision. He's walking around free. because of his lies and the stuff he planted on people's computers, there are people in prison for 20 years. There are people in there who have another 15 years to go while he's walking around for free when they didn't do it.
Yep. And accessing the money that he stole from
they wanted
everybody.
the money.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's not hurting. But with this map in Maryland, this gerrymandered map where they've cut up the districts. Say you live in a largely Republican or conservative area, and you had enough votes to get a congressman in there, congressperson. Well, they've just cut it up to where even if every person you know voted, your neighbors across the street have to vote in another district. It cuts you up. So you can't possibly come up with enough votes to win. They've left you, basically, they've cut it up so bad, they've redistricted so bad that they now control it all. The only vote that you actually have that would count would be for governor and senator, because those are statewide.
Yeah.
It doesn't rely on the district. I mean, there's local things like that, and vote as much as you can. But by doing these districts so horribly, it's governor and senator that you can vote for, where the districts don't matter. So please vote for them. One's me.
Yeah.
And governor.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be more people joining in after the holidays. And again, I say to them, why'd you wait? You just want to see which way the political winds go? I know a lot of people are waiting just to see how the map was redistricted, because it's not about Maryland. If they really cared, they'd be out there fighting the map, but they're not. They're just waiting to see how it goes, to see, well, should I run for this or that? I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
And now that we've had a Republican, now we're seeing a lot of the old Democrat names come out. Glenn Denning, Ehrlich, and good old Marty O'Malley's people. And of course, we have Doug Gensler, running. So a lot of the people coming in, it's just a cycle. I mean, are there no other qualified people? Does no one out there know what it's like to live in Maryland? Know what the problems are? Have an idea how to fix it? Of course they do. So why do the same people run all the time?
Yeah, people aren't standing up and throwing their hat in the ring to, do it.
It's not easy.
No.
It is not easy. It is time-consuming. It's expensive as hell. And thank you, everyone, for the very generous donations. Creeping up little by little. And it is very expensive to beat an incumbent, even one as damaged and as known corrupt as Ben Holland.
Yeah.
And we just had Speaker Pelosi endorsed someone for governor in Maryland. Because, now if you read the article, of course she's from Maryland, big-time presidents of Maryland, but California. Now, if you read something out there, she's California this, California that. But if she wants to endorse someone here, they talk about how she's from Maryland, Little Italy, big-time family presence here, da-da-da-da-da. They want it both ways. It's like, don't mention Maryland if it's something California.
Right.
Because then she's an outsider. But if it's somebody she wants to endorse here, then let's go nuts.
Maybe she does contribute to the economy by ordering her vodka from Maryland or something.
Well, we don't want to be rich.
Yeah. But I think it was Perez, right?
Tony.
Yeah. Tony Perez, right? He's the one running for governor. I think that Pelosi endorsed.
Yeah, I'm not. I know the name. He was. He had some little position before, but I don't know him personally. Yeah. But yeah, she endorsed him. I didn't want to bring his name up. But endorsements are a big thing, and I've met quite a few very nice people, and they are supporting me. So hopefully that leads to endorsements. It is, like I said, running in a campaign is time-consuming. It's very busy. You have your own life that you have to live. So it does take money. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a ton of support from family and friends who are willing to put it all out there, not just for you, but for the state, to fix what's wrong. And that's why we're doing it. It's not easy.
Yeah, and
So,
like especially you said, running against an incumbent, that's already his job. He's already getting paid very well for it, so he doesn't really have to deter from what he's normally doing already. He's already in there and has the high ground, I guess you could say. But everybody is seeing the task as daunting because you have to provide for your family, you have to have a full-time job, you have to have a roof over your head, and then add on top of that campaigning, knocking on people's doors, trying to get more exposure and do interviews like we're doing now, and other ones to come. It is a daunting task that if you look at it, it looks extremely hard. But if you just jump in with both feet, I'm pretty sure anybody can get acclimated to it, and would be surprised at the amount of support that you can muster up just by doing the right thing for the state, for the people. A lot of people get involved in it because of personal skin in the game. It's like, oh, well, I want to do something about education because I have problems with my children's education. So those are good reasons to get into it. But ultimately, the biggest effect and the biggest way to get the endorsements or the support of others is by doing it for the people. Because I think there is a larger amount of people paying attention now than it used to be. Like, I mean, take me for an example. I never voted until 2020. I was never involved in politics or anything like that. And now I'm doing a solely political podcast, considering running for office and jumping in with both feet in the fire and trying to get something done. Because I want relief for the people who are afraid to speak up, and I want relief for myself, my family, and my friends. So that, I mean, please, anybody who's listening, don't look at it as too tall a task. Just look at it from the brass tacks of, okay, this is what I feel in my heart I should do. Let's do it. Then we'll figure it out as it goes and how to get it done. Because I can tell you right now, if you're in Maryland and you're looking to run, that there's many ways that John could help you. There's many ways that I could help you by connecting with some other like-minded people to where we can build up a team and really make an impact in the primary and the general election coming up in 2022.
we need to. We know what their plans are. We see how bad it is, and it's going to get worse. I mean, it's going to get worse after holidays. It's going to get worse every day. But if they get the majority they want, and look how they just did it in Maryland. Maryland's done. They got the map they wanted. They took away your conservative voice, and it's happening in multiple states. So they're trying desperately to get that two-thirds majority, which will allow them to change the Constitution. Do you think for 1 second they wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask yourself the question. It's not even a serious question. Do you think for 1 second they would hesitate to do it? Do you think for 1 second this P-resident would not sign something that changed the Constitution?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've already...
And it's coming.
Yeah. They've already
2022, it's coming.
ignored the laws to this point and the Constitution that were, waving in the air behind us to say, hey, you guys are breaking the law. But it's not enough people doing it yet, and we have to have a real groundswell for that.
Dude, look at these idiotic judges forcing people to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
These idiotic judges overriding the president to allow immigration, legal immigration. You think for a second they wouldn't change the Constitution if they had the power to do so? They could care less what you think. They wouldn't hesitate for a second, and they're doing it. Maryland just caved. We know Maryland's looking at gaining several more Democratic Congress seats. So I'm hoping to get elected, be hired for this job, so I can at least be a stopgap. Because if Congress does something, then it goes to the Senate, I can at least help stop it.
Yeah.
But they just shattered Congress. They just took it over for decades. and they're doing it in multiple states. They're getting enough seats, and then boom, there you are. Our Constitution's not going to last much longer. 2022 could be the year it dies.
Yeah.
And 23 is the end. Right to free speech, as long as it agrees with what they say, as long as it's for the common good, as long as it's for the health of the nation, which means you have to go along with what they say is healthful. These are already discussed. It's not like it could happen. They've already discussed this stuff. It's planned. Just like coming after the firearms, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned months ago that they were testing drinking water for COVID, as a means of dispersal, and now it's coming out. It's showing up in water. So you can say, well, there's that, whatever. My track record, pretty good, but they've already discussed this. These are already done. They're just done. It's in the folder, coming out a date afterwards, and on to the next destructive thing. It's in the file. It's coming out, and they will enact it to whatever degree they possibly can. If they get this election, if they can get the House and then the Senate, then we're done. So you won't have another election, you won't have no chance, and you won't have the constitutional rights to sit back and fight with. They're going to take them.
Yeah, we really have to fight on all fronts right now. It's not just one issue over the other. I mean, you can see the confusion in society on a daily basis because now everybody feels entitled to be their own government and make up their own rules. Like, let's take a sports team or like a rec team or something, like soccer, baseball, whatever. Like, they have their own policies that they believe that they can make up for the concern of public health. And that's where they get people all the time because it's for the group thing, for the good of all, and all that. Oh, I got to make this sacrifice. No, the sacrifice that we have to make is within ourselves to prevent these things from happening. And it's not looking good, but we're definitely getting some more response from people, especially just random conversation. My hat's an icebreaker every time that everybody can see it there. We the people are pissed off. That's an icebreaker all the time, even if I'm at work or just out. Somebody's like, oh, I like your hat. And then we start a conversation. So it's little innuendos like that are very good to put out there to get some response to the issues at hand. And the sticker brigade, that's another thing I wanted to talk about as well, is what we're going to be doing with your campaign soon enough here is slapping stickers on everything. It's kind of a tried and true method that's been used in other countries as well as the United States before to get a message out there. We see Trump won stickers everywhere you go, and I did that stickers with Biden on it pointing to gas prices at almost every gas pump that you go to. I just took another picture yesterday of the I did that stickers on each octane of the fuel at one gas pump, and one guy on another gas pump I backed up to show somebody that was in my car, and it did it all in permanent marker. So there is more response that we are getting from people, but that we have to be unified in that response. You've got all these little conservative groups and these Facebook groups or Telegram groups and whatever, and people are just still using their powers. I'm in a ministry or whatever. It's like, I don't want to leave that and join your group because then I won't have a group. And I keep trying to reach out to these group leaders and saying, hey, well, if we were all one group, then we could fix this a lot faster. And if we don't do that, then we're not going to have any groups after that. So,
well, we are not as divided as the media and things like us to believe. They want everybody at each other's throats because we're easier to control. We're not. Okay, I go into Wawa, my 1 cup of coffee my stomach can handle a day. And, black guy opens his door for me, and I hold it for a lady here, and really, how you doing? Whatever, just chatting real quick. We're not killing each other out there. There are bad spots in the city. We're not at each other's throat, and there's a whole lot of people who would vote Republican. They just wouldn't admit to it publicly. They come out and cuss and scream, I can't believe he won. Oh, it pissed me off. But they voted for you because they know stuff is wrong. And they're suffering too. Okay, we're all getting hurt. And, they'll come out. They won't admit it, but they'll vote the right way to fix the problem. So we can do this. We can get the votes. We can get the recognition. We need recognition and funds because posters and billboards and stuff are not free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I understand that. I don't expect anybody to work for free. But Van Hollen does, of course. But he does. But we're not as divided as they make it out to be. And the color doesn't matter when you're all suffering. As an ex-reformed physicist, I believe in potential. I always look for potential in anything. Potential in this bill they're putting in there, the potential to help, potential to harm, the potential of this person, that person when you hire them, potential of this product or that product. And children have the greatest potential. So always look for that. Education support them because they have the greatest potential of all of us. We're all set in our ways. It's like they have the potential to be anything. You think I've done some impressive stuff? There's somebody out there that was just born. Or almost born, or a couple years old or something. It's going to blow that away. And I can't wait. That's going to be fantastic. They can lift us all up. But that's potential. That's what I look for. So I look for potential in everything. Good and bad potential. You can weigh it out. There's not a whole lot of potential there. There are bad parts in the city. Everybody knows it. You go in the city, people live there. Like, don't go down there. That's terrible. They're scared to go down there. You don't have to make it a color issue. They're not stupid. I don't go down there either. I live over there. I don't go that way. I go the other way. I go the long way to work. There's just idiots at some places. Okay, there's idiots down there. There's idiots on the shore. Idiots out west. There's just every town's got an idiot somewhere. So they don't have to divide us up like that. We're not as divided as they want us to believe. And the people will vote for the right person to fix it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, even a conversation I had
with that person.
Yeah, and especially on that note, we should definitely remind everybody who watches the video or is watching now, or where to go to contribute to the campaign. For Dr. John, you can go to winbigvotepig.com. That's a new update to the Senate race website. So that automatically directs you to mcgreevyforsenate.org. So that it's a more digestible name to put down, and we have a QR code up there on the picture as well that can lead you to that, and hopefully have some more donations coming in. I know you have had some applicants for various positions in your campaign,
yes.
And that's very important too, because that's another great way people can get involved to aid you getting into office to do the job of the people.
We need it. We've had some very impressive applications. They're certainly not out. Anybody listening, we haven't hired yet, just because you need to pay people. You don't expect them to work for free again. And if you can volunteer, terrific. We need people from every level to go up. We've got some really nice resumes, people with impressive experience, and we are interested. We are putting together a team now. A little bit late, but that's just the way it is. We are very grassroots. We're very open, and here it is. You see how much we've got online. It's not a whole lot, but people don't have much to give right now. Prices are ridiculous, inflation's ridiculous and deliberate, and it's a holiday. Okay?
Yep.
So we understand, and it's going to hurt, but they want it to hurt. They want to hurt us. That way you can't fight. And if you're sick and concerned and broke, you can't fight, and that keeps them in power.
Yep, keeps you relying on the government.
Yeah, which is horrible. Well, that's their ultimate goal. Keep you relying on the government one way or another.
Yeah.
So, if everybody's sick and relying on the government, who's going to pay in?
Exactly.
And you get the hyperinflation.
Yep.
Not somebody show me $1 trillion bill. A real one. So
Wow.
From overseas. But as hyperinflation, $1 trillion bill. Just put one in your wallet. I'm a trillionaire.
And that's happened time and time again to so many other countries. Again, we're being pinched in from the Atlantic and the Pacific side, where communism is trying to be, or socialism is trying to be jammed down our throats. I mean, it, for all intents and purposes, without the Constitution, the communism is already here. I mean, it is already being imposed on us on a daily basis by the choices that are taken away from us. So as long as we have that Constitution, as you mentioned before, John, that we have to fight for it. Otherwise, it's going to be gone.
Well, it's even things like your pension. If you're fortunate enough to have anything left after you have a pension, so let's say you have a 401k. Your 401k has invested in multiple things. You put money into it, but they invested in different things. Well, if they invested in treasury bills, T-bills, government instruments, things like that, well, the government wants it back. Supposedly you invest into it, they're safe, so you get a little bit of interest, and it goes up. Well, they want all that back. The government's like, well, you're not making money off of us. That's ours. We're taking it back. We don't take back the percentage. They're still going to tax you, but they want their money back. Yep. So they're just going to take it right out of your pension that you've waited how many years for. So they're just going to take it right back because you shouldn't have it anyway. It's just ridiculous that they're going to, and where there's money sitting around because your money's sitting in a 401k, savings, things like this. This is why they wanted to regulate how much you could take out of a bank, how many transactions you could have a month. They were tracking them, and because there's money sitting in the bank in your account, it's your money, but you don't deserve it, so they're going to take it. And there you go. We're just going to take it. We'll guarantee it. Say you have $100,000 in the bank. That'd be great. But we're just going to take it, and we'll guarantee it because we're the government. So if you're doing, say, $5,000 a month, we'll guarantee 6 of it. But we're going to take that bulk. It doesn't need to be in your account. We're just going to hand it on to it. So they can give it to their crews, give it to their people, give it to people who come in the country illegally. We'll guarantee what's in there. Just another form of the federal insurance when you're a bank deposit. I mean, your money's not physically sitting there, but it's your money. Well, they're just going to say, no, it's our money, but we'll guarantee how much you normally do a month. But you can't go over this amount. And that's why that's coming in. That's why they start working on that and tracking how much you do a month, because they would just want to take the rest of it and guarantee those payments to keep it going. And they just want it all.
Yep.
For them.
Yeah, because they lowered the IRS monitoring of transactions from 10,000 to 600, right? So, yeah, that's absolutely insane. And I've heard from so many different people that the IRS isn't actually a government entity. It's in Puerto Rico or something, the headquarters for it. It's like, man, like, people have to start seeing the writing on the wall here. There's all kinds of fuckery going on, and nobody's going to come save us. We have to do it ourselves.
Well, this is already creeping in. You've seen examples. I'm sure many people out there have heard them on the news, saw a blurb on the phone app or something. This is the stuff happening now. And it's going to hit, and they're just going to take everything after this coming election if they get what they want. I saw it coming years ago, back in 2015, 2016 with Molly and all the fraud back then and what they had talked about. So I talked about the VAT cards almost 2 years ago now, when because they were just drunk. I even put it in there. I said they were rabid with the possibilities of what they could do with this. You could see in their eyes when we talk about it, they were totally zoned out, not looking anywhere, but their eyes were wide open when their mind was going on the amount of abuse they could put on. And here they are, back in passports. I wrote that over 2 years ago, and here it is. So I know what's coming. They're already doing it, and you're seeing the first pieces of it being laid out for it now. So when this election happens, and we don't fight our asses off because we're still pissed about the last one, and we let them get to 2/3, because I'm going to stay home, and they're just going to steal it anyway, and we don't fight like hell to get decent people in there to stop it, or at least fight them, then they've got it. They got to 2/3, and they don't care one bit what you think. Do they care that they force your child to wear a mask? that
Yep.
affects their health, that you have a medical exemption. Not one damn bit.
Nope, they got
They
paid.
don't care. Yeah. Do they care if you lose your job? No, they love it because then they got you under control. You got to use their benefits. That's our money, but it's their benefits.
And
They don't care.
still get
If
paid.
they get to 2/3, done. Oh yeah, they're still got their top line, top shelf booze, their free flights, their full medical coverage, their full pensions. That just grows daily. Those are untouchable, but by the way, none of this applies to them. It just applies to us. So we can stay pissed about 2020, and we should, but we must focus on the 2022 and putting a stop to this crap, or we're going to be buried under so much we'll never get out. And we will not have the tools, the Constitution, to fight it. That's what they want. That's what they're working on. You just saw it in Maryland. Anybody in Maryland listening, you just saw what they did with the district map. They just gave Congress an overwhelming majority for decades in Maryland and overrode the governor. So how do you keep fighting? Well, governor and Senate is your vote now. So vote. Vote for everybody local. Vote Republicans. Don't make it easy for them. Fight. Fight on every level. But they just made it a ton harder because they abused their power. Do you think federally they're not going to abuse it? They already are. You think they'll hesitate for a second to change the Constitution? They're drooling over it. They've already got the stuff written up. Second Amendment gone.
Yep. And I just had this conversation.
First Amendment altered.
Yeah. I just had this conversation with somebody today about the way Maryland used to be, and you mentioned it on a previous show, is that Maryland is the stomping grounds for the swamp, that usually something came out of D.C. and it was stopped at Maryland when we had good people in office. But now it's just aiding and abetting this disbursement of unconstitutional legislation all throughout the country. Because Maryland was kind of like the Stonewall originally, but not anymore. So now that it's happening here with the redistricting and everything else that's been going on, yeah, it's very evident that it's going to spread like a virus throughout the country.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
We talked about how Maryland used to stop things, and if it didn't get past Maryland, it just wouldn't go anywhere. But now they're schmoozing Hogan to be a VP and making all kinds of deals. And just since we've talked about that, look who's been back. The P resident and the vice P resident have both been to Maryland.
Yep.
Where she couldn't even charge an electric car. Okay, so it's but it can't go south. Virginia went red, right? But
Yeah.
So they have to go north. So here they are. Here we are. They're schmoozing Maryland, schmoozing Hogan, trying to get him to be in there. Hogan, I might go Senate. He might introduce it. The releases are already there. I've already read them, but they're ready. And that's just like a threat to them to get a better deal because they want him to be vice president. He doesn't have national recognition. He can't run for president. Nobody knows who he is outside Maryland, really. But he would lend authority to someone like Biden, Pence. So.
Yeah, you know both of them pretty well, John. So I think it's safe to say I trust your opinion on them. But again, everybody...
Yeah, they have a lot in common. Yeah, everybody can make of that what you will.
Yeah, so we'll definitely come to that crossroads soon enough as some more information comes out and some other things are wrapped up. And
yeah, come on, Hogan, run against me in Senate.
yeah, wouldn't that be beautiful? Like we would have to drag him out to debate you, but I mean, I don't know. I might take that charge, man. Yeah.
I'll just show up.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need. We need people to just show up and participate. It's,
But they're dirty as hell, and they know it. And there's again, what you can do about it. But I will. I'll debate. I'll put your crap right out there. Because you're not making deals with me. I'm not gonna scratch your back. They get out there, it's like, well, I want to attack you on this. You don't attack me on that. It's like, you can attack all you want. I've already been attacked online. Let's do this. I'm not hiding anything for you. You don't
Exactly.
get no credit. You didn't stop anything before. Let's do it. So, yeah, they're dirty as hell. And I don't have to be the smear guy. I can just point out what they've already done. The time they wasted, what they've taken. Hogan's filthy rich now. With all his crooked ass deals. His own website says he'll help you get around all the rules and regulations. I mean, come on.
Yeah, with
And
the
the other
real
time they'd be calling
estate.
for impeachment over that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, not to mention, I know we've said it before, but back in 2019, I believe he did that interview and he was boasting how he made millions of dollars as governor, and nobody said anything about it. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be making money off of your private companies when you're an elected official. So people have to be made aware.
He brags about it.
Yeah.
He brags about it and puts it on his own website right there. You can copy it. Go to the screen grab it. It's right there.
Yep.
Where he offers to help you get around everything because of who he is. Using your tax dollars to enrich himself. And we've had enough of it. This isn't a popularity contest anymore. I don't care what you look like. I care that you can do the job.
Yep.
I care that you'll fight.
Well, we know you can
It's
do
always
the
the little
job.
guy with something to prove, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you got the fight in you. Let it out. I don't care where you come from, how much money you got, what color you are. I don't care. Fight. Freaking fight, because they're taking everything.
Yep.
Your life's over with. You'll have nothing left except what they give you. And what they give you, they can take away.
Yeah, not everyone who's listening, they know you're the guy, the perfect guy to have in the ring for the people. So I encourage everybody to share this far and wide. Again, with winbigvotepig.com. There's some national donations that have been made, which is very encouraging, from getting them from people who aren't even in the state. Because
Or the country. There have
Yep.
been a couple from overseas. Wonderful. Australia, England, Europe, Ireland. So it was really cool. You know,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's like that. And they've sent it with, wanting to help because they like the message and they like to fight, especially Ireland. We fight.
yeah,
But it's also because they didn't fight when they had the chance. or they did fight, but they still lost. And they know what's coming. Because look at Australia. A lot of people fought to keep the firearms, keep the certain freedoms, and it was taken away. They lost. And now there are concentration camps over there for people who refuse the vaccine. Look it up. It's online. So, I mean, you don't trust everything online, but I'm saying it's right there. The government even points to it. It's the government website. You can track to it. And that's what it is. It's detainees who refuse the vaccine. And the people had wished now that they'd fought harder. So they're actually contributing now to help us. And I won't forget that. And when we get our stuff taken care of, we will turn back around just like America has always done and help our allies. So
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
yeah, it's that type of selflessness that we all need, John. You're truly an inspiration to all the people who are listening, and myself included. I mean, I probably wouldn't be here without you. I mean, you got deplatformed from Twitter. That's what inspired me to start a podcast to continue to get your voice out. And I'm not going to have it any other way but you getting into U.S. Senate and doing the bidding for the people.
I like you.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll
I like
donate
that
too.
attitude.
I don't know.
We gotta do it.
Yeah.
I hope you do. We need you. Stick your brother in there too. We need
Yeah.
you both over there. What we need to do is have both of you there so you can really make me look short. Thanks.
Yes.
But
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah.
We'll get on either side of you, and that'll be the next picture I post up there. It'll be like, hey, here's John again, but don't worry about him. He's the short guy in the middle.
That's all right. I got that from my family all the time. My family's way over 6 feet. Used to gather around back when we were younger, stand around me and say, "You're going bald." Yeah, I can see it. You've lost more hair since the last time I saw you. So yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. But that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm the velvet pig, the golden chop where the bottom matches the top. That's right. So it's okay. We can do this.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Man, that's going to be on a sticker or something. I think that's a good one there. Screw the
So it's all right.
Win Big Vote Pig. We just bought another domain, everybody.
Velvet pig.
Yeah, we could write children's books about it. There was the Velveteen Rabbit, so maybe we could just do the Velvet Pig, you know? John McCreevy narrates children's
I
books.
talked about a pop-up scratch and sniff book years ago. I think the time has come. No, you're only allowed to write books now as payoffs for corruption. So.
And this is what gun primer smells like.
Scratch this, not too hard. Scratch it.
Oh, man. Well, it's always fun having you. I think we should end the show on that before we get to...
Thank you so much, everyone.
We tend to get
a couple hours. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we tend to get out of hand after hours or something. It's not even late, so Lord only knows what'll happen in another hour from now. I might, give you another nickname like I did that one show.
No, that's okay. I got enough.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to close this out. Thanks, John, for coming on. WinBigVotePig.com. Thanks for tuning in. I'll post this video up on the Rumble, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it on johnheretohelp.info as well. That's where John's #1 fan site resides. And hopefully soon we can get together, unify on getting our state and our country back, and continue to work, Maryland. Let's go.
Lately, USA is getting scarier. Half of the Americans I see all hate America. They hate the cops doing their best to take care of us and kneel for the flag and salt the soldiers that we're burying. I'm tired of the pissing and complaining. Why you living in America if all you do is hate it? You think it's brave to take a stand against the nation? Real bravery is dying for the right so you can say it. Dear America, what happened to Americans? Apparently no one's aware or cares that it's embarrassing. It's arrogance. Our greatest enemy was always slavery and terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage. I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America, does anybody know what the hell happened to the Patriots? Lately this nation is so ashamed and hating itself. Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this? Ungratefulness, United States gave everything to you just to help. I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't need your help to understand it was a tragedy. Can I just be thankful for my country eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualties? I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women. Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions. If you don't like it, go. Hate it, then don't call it home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America, you can hate the government and still love the country. The fundamental values of America are concrete. Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they use to create chaos and corruption. You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood. We started out United States, divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My